when I tasted this, I knew that this was by far the worst product that had been released in 25, 30 years. Hey, what's up, everybody? Fred Minnick here. So today's a big day. I just announced my whiskey club, and a few people started reaching out to me about some of the tier names. Now, the club name is Club Marzipan, after the note I named in the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and people are like, oh my God, Marzipan. So I figured, you know what? Club Marzipan, I'm going to make fun of myself a little bit. And my very first tier is called Not a Dead Cat. Now, I got a link in the description if you learn more about the program, but I want to explain where Not a Dead Cat came from, because there seems to be a lot of interest in that. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I gave a review once in a blind tasting of a product, and I said, it smells like a dead cat. And then I was like, no, it's not a dead cat. It's like a dying cat, and then like a cat in a litter box. And it was this product right here, OZ Tyler. And this series that I was doing, this was when I was going to a liquor store, and I was buying up bottles on the shelf, and I would do a blind tasting of them in a particular category. And I did that at the height of the pandemic. So it was in the middle of the pandemic, before there was a vaccine, before there was really, we knew much about it. And this was the $16 to $25 category, and put this in a blind tasting, and it was so bad. It came in absolutely last. I tasted 25 products in that particular one, and it came in dead last. Now, I did put a link to that entire video if you want to watch it in its entirety in the description. So a little bit about this. This product is so bad. It's so bad that they discontinued it. And they changed the name of the rapid aging technique that they use. In fact, when they changed the name to Green River in 2020, in the fall of 2020, they basically got rid of using all of those stocks that were using that rapid aging technique, and they just started making whiskey like the traditional way, which honestly was probably the best thing that they could have done. And also, you have to think about, distilleries are people's legacies, and there was a distiller attached to this brand that was not necessarily putting out product that represented his distilling ability. And that is Jacob Call. Jacob Call is an incredible distiller, and I feel like he got put in a very difficult situation of, having to distill with a technique, using a technique and, market a technique that necessarily did not show his prowess as a distiller. Of course, Bardstown Bourbon Company comes in and buys Green River. Jacob Call starts his own brand, and it's called Hemingway Rye. By the way, they just announced their first series, just launched in the last quarter. Anyway, so when I tasted this, I knew that this was by far the worst product that had been released in 25, 30 years. I mean, there were some doozies in the 90s that were released that were not very good. Actually, that had some name brands on them. Like when Jim Beam was putting out some Old Taylor. There were some Old Taylor releases that were very woody. There have been some iconic turkey products that were overcorked. There was the famous Elmer T. Lee Cork Taint release. There's been a lot of one-off releases that were bad for one thing or another. Typically packaging or bad batching, like a bad series of barrels or whatever. This one was just bad because of the process that they use. Essentially, rapid aging never bodes well in the world of spirits competitions or tastings. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take out the higher alcohols. They're trying to make it taste like it's older than it is. It does not work. It has not worked. There has not been an effective rapid aging technique that has made it to the mainstream. They have been trying to do this since the mid 1800s. I actually wrote about this for the Oxford Companion for Spirits. Like, if you get that book, it's like a 17,000 page book. I'm exaggerating, but I'm the one who wrote the piece about the history of rapid aging. It does not work. And so this is the first time that the whiskey touches my lips. I'm going to show you the clip from 2020 of when I tasted it the first time, and then I'm going to come around and I'm going to taste it again. And this is the exact same bottle that I tasted that day. You can see I've poured a lot of it. Actually, sometimes people will come in the office and like, hey, what's the worst thing that you've ever tasted? And then I'll pour this out for them along with a couple other things. So here is a quick clip of me tasting what I think is the worst bourbon of the 21st century.
Ooh. Well, I just poured a couple of doozies back to back. This is bad. Oh my God. Sounds like a dead cat. Well, maybe not a dead cat. Maybe a dying cat. Like a litter box. It's got some cat smells, let's put it that way. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, man. Not good. I was putting bad smells, like cat, and the taste, undescribable.
All right. So, promises are promises. I am going to tell you what I think about it now. Now, I will tell you, I'm not in the best tasting condition right now. Like, I've had a bit of a cold. You can tell I might be a little congested, but my palate's good enough where I know if something is shit. If it smells, my nose is fine. If something smells or tastes like a dead cat, I feel like I'm going to know if it tastes or smells like a dead cat. So here we go. Oh my God. I think it might actually be worse. Is that possible? Is it possible that it smells worse? Ugh. All right, so now it smells like a dead cat that someone's trying to cover up with bleach. So, like a cat murder scene. Ugh. NSI kitty. Okay. Oh, I don't even want to taste it. I'm going to taste it. Here we go. This is so bad. Oh my God. This is so incredibly bad. And it should be noted that Green River, when they made that label change, they could not get far away from this, as they could. You're not going to find this on the shelf anymore. This has been discontinued, and it's never going to turn around. And they're never going to do it again. And they recently changed the name of Terra Pure. So I don't know what they changed it. I mean, I was told what they changed it to, but I can't recall what it is. I didn't write it in my notes. But they changed it. So they've done everything they could to get away from this release. It was so bad. I'm not saying my review is why it got taken off the shelves, but if it wasn't me, it's going to be someone else, and I know for a fact that this thing didn't have legions of fans, and it's a good thing that Owensboro has a distillery doing it right now. So if you see Green River on there, you can assure that doesn't have any of that Terra Pure stuff going on with it. But I can now say with certainty that this is the worst bourbon of the 21st century so far. And if you find it, drink it just to find out how bad it is. And I swear to you, smell it and tell me if you don't get that. It really, I mean, it's been 3 years since I did this. 3 years. And yes, I had this in my mind what it smelled like, but I'm telling you, smells like a freaking dead cat. Now with bleach. A murder scene. A dead cat murder scene being covered up with bleach. So that's the story of how I named Not a Dead Cat, my first here in my membership community. And I regret that I had to taste this again to tell you that story. I could have just told you the story instead of tasting it again, but whatever. I'm a glutton for punishment, I suppose. And the other tiers in there's a lot of incredible opportunities there. I hope you come check it out. It's on Patreon. It's called Club Marzipan. Access to my barrel picks. I've got a series called Taste Camp I'm doing. We'll have monthly tastings with me outside of that. But really, it's just an opportunity for me to use my, nearly 20 years of service in the bourbon community, bringing in retailers a little closer. And so there's going to be a lot of exclusive content here. You definitely want to check it out. I hope you'll come join the community. But don't worry, if you can't, I understand. No hurt feelings, of course. But nothing's changing on this YouTube channel. Everything's going to remain the same. But I've hired some people. And I've hired people to, basically help me with this exclusive content. And there is going to be a lot of effort into this community, not just for me, but a team of people that are very excited to present to you Club Marzipan. So I hope that you'll come check it out. And, if not, we understand. But definitely do not taste this unless you want to jack up your palate. That's going to do it for this episode, folks. Be safe out there. And remember, vodka sucks unless it's being used for hand sanitizer. Cheers.